Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but if you guys ever want to check out my picks, usually I will send them to UFC Predictions Tracker. I've been doing very well lately with my picks. Had one pick flip to Michael Johnson, and that saved me because he was a huge underdog, and yeah, the veteran Savvy got it done. Daniel Zellhuber didn't do a damn fucking thing in that fight except throw the fucking high kick to Michael Johnson's head that he blocked every single time. He didn't change up his game plan, and Michael Johnson still got it and will KO Ilya with relative ease. Anyway, this card, there's not a lot of names on it, but there's a lot of fun fights on it and I think there's a lot of good matchups and a lot of close fights. Don't know too many of the odds yet, but I really look forward to these kind of cards because it's always those ones where the low expectations and people are like, I'm not even gonna watch this, and it's gonna turn out to be a banger. We'll see. I hope so. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Okay, starting off the card is Azamat Bakoyev versus Yusri Bagari. Azamat Bakoyev was originally supposed to fight Torres Finney, which I think I was going to pick Torres Finney to win, even though he looked really boring in his last fight against Robert Valentine with the just wrestle fucking. It was not mixed martial arts, only wrestling to get the job done, and he was taking on now it's Yusri Bagari taking on Azamat Bakoyev, and Bulgari is 1-1 in the Contender Series. Dana White was not impressed with his performance. It was a shitty fight, his last fight, and he ended up knocking out that guy in the third round, and he lost to Marco Tullio. He's getting sent into this fight on short notice. Um, he has fought he has beat Alex Pereira in kickboxing way back in the day in 2017. Also got knocked out by him as well. Experienced kickboxer. Take on Azamat Bakoyev, who has wrestling and serious power. Um, I wasn't totally convinced on Azamat Bakoyev. I believe I picked Zach Reese to beat him. Um, I figured he'd I don't remember who I picked, Ryan Loader, but I think he's the real deal. I think he could go in here. I think he's just levels above Bagari in the mixed martial arts department and hits fucking hard and has way more experience. This can be Bagari's biggest fight, and he's not taking on an easy opponent for his first UFC fight, and he wasn't even originally supposed to be in the UFC. Only got called in because of short notice. Now, Felipe Bunez versus Rafael Estevam, and I don't like Rafael Estevam's style. I it's effective. It's working in his winning by decisions. Charles Johnson, I don't like how he looked in that fight. He got way outstruck by Charles Johnson. And Jesus Aguilar is tiny, little guy. And Felipe Bunez, I do like his submission ability. It, it was pretty impressive. Him submitting Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson's not that bad, and he's the tallest flyweight I've ever seen. Um, he looked good against Joshua Van until he got knocked out in round two, but the old Josh Van was giving up all the first rounds. Joshua Van is leveling up at a rapid rate. It's honestly very impressive. But anyway, he was in LFA before, which is a good promotion, and he's 1-1 in the UFC now. I think the finishing upside is more on the Bunez side, but it's kind of a long shot. I do still think Estevam is gonna utilize his wrestling, and it's just gonna he's gonna win 29-28 decision or 30-27. I think he'll get it done by decision, but yeah. Now, Rinya Nakamura versus Nathan Fletcher. Muin Gafarov looked really fucking good against Rinya Nakamura. And I was pretty high on Rinya before that. Against Carlos Vera, he had a lot of tricky moments, but like Carlos Vera was kind of Ryan Halling that, like doing Yamani rolls and fucking trying to go for leg locks while Rinya was like trying to stand and like even though he like Rinya can wrestle, he's doesn't use it so much anymore. Um, but anyway, it was like a difficult fight, but like he did win for sure, and he knocked out Toshiyama Kazama, and he beat Fernie Garcia in the UFC on road to the UFC. He looked pretty good, but I don't rate road to the UFC too high. Nathan Fletcher is like a low grade Paddy Pimblett um in the bantamweight division. I remember watching all of The Ultimate Fighter, and he lost to Con Offley. It was 2 round fight, is how it was. But he didn't do a damn thing in that fight, and that loss is aging really bad because Con Offley didn't. He didn't look great in the UFC. He looked like dollar store Volk, like the worst version of Volk. Like, yeah, and he looked okay on the Ultimate Fighter, but the Ultimate Fighter, like, you never know until they really get into the UFC. And Nathan Fletcher, he submitted Zigomantis Ramaska, who was a dog for sure, but I don't know, like Fletcher was just levels above him, and like Fletcher just lost to Callan Lochran. I know that was a super close fight where Fletcher almost finished it for sure, and like Callan even got cut. It was a fucking boring fight. It's I don't know. Um, I want to go with Fletcher, and you know what? Yeah, the age is on his side. 9-2 versus 9-1 record. I'm gonna go with Nathan Fletcher. I don't know what it is. Like, I think like I've still seen like glimpses of like talent in Nathan Fletcher. I've been impressed with many things. Rinya Nakamura so far in the UFC, like all decision, like he knocked out Toshiyama Kazama, but I don't know. I'll go with Nathan Fletcher, low confidence to get it done by submission or decision, leaning more decision. He's got pop in his shots for sure as well. Might hit a bit harder. Yeah, Nathan Fletcher by decision. Now Rodolfo Vieira versus Tresean Gore. And I know in Tresean Gore's last fight against Marco Tulio, he got knocked the fuck out, but he looked good before that happened. He did get dropped, but he was hurting. Marco Tulio almost finished him himself. Like, I think he looked pretty good. He submitted Antonio Tricoli, Mackenzie Dern's boyfriend. Super low level guy, but he is tall as fuck. And he was able to get that guillotine, and like he almost pulled Josh Fremd's head off. And regardless, I haven't decided who I'm going to pick. I'm going to do it on the spot right now. But regardless who I pick, I'm rooting for Tresean Gore. I like the way he looks in his fights. It's fun always. Rodolfo Vieira is coming off a loss to Andre Petroski, which he was a favorite to win that fight. And spinner Armin Petrosian, Cody Brundage lost to Chris Curtis. Yeah, he could not land a takedown on Chris Curtis and beat Dustin Stoltzfus. So his wins are okay. Not too bad, but he's like heavy grappler, and Tresean Gore, like good submission ability, and like he can stand. His chin's been tested twice, while Rodolfo Vieira has not been knocked out. So going into that, like to rely on Tresean Gore to knock him out, it will be the first time. But there's first time for everything. Where Gore's been knocked out twice inside the UFC. Can he like withstand the takedowns from Rodolfo Vieira, like jiu-jitsu black belt? I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna go with Tresean Gore, another underdog. Fuck, like yeah, I'll go with Tresean Gore to get it done by even I'm trying to convince myself maybe here. I want to see another ridiculous guillotine, but maybe by knockout or decision. He looked well-rounded against Brian Battle. It's a long time ago, but yeah, Rodolfo Vieira is 35 now. Tresean Gore seems to always want to improve, and he definitely has. I will go with Tresean Gore. Now, Nick Klein versus Andriy Poliev. I don't like this fight. I find it super tricky to pick because, look, he looked good. Andriy Poliev looked good in his fight in the Contender Series. It was long, and like he was using his strikes very well to get it done. I believe, yeah, he was the underdog in that fight as well. And like Christian Leroy, he could not do anything against Christian Leroy Duncan. Now, Nick Klein had success against Mansour Abdul Malik till he got knocked out. Great grappler, Nick Klein. He was also a heavy underdog coming in on short notice to the Contender Series where he submitted the guy Hernaldo Souza in 37 seconds. I will go with Nick Klein ever so slightly, but I would not bet on this fight because, like, fuck, it could go anyway. Like, I could see Andriy Poliev, like, just, like, looking how he did on the Contender Series with his strikes, and I could see Nick Klein even submit the guy, but he's proven to be pretty durable. He did get knocked out a while back, actually not that long ago, 2023, but when I see he can roll with the punches pretty well. I will go with Nick Klein to get this one done. Very low confidence. Now, Taira Rodriguez versus Ketlin Souza. I picked Angela Hill to beat Ketlin Souza, even though, like, Ketlin Souza looked really good, submitting Yasmin Uruguay in the first round, beating Marnik Man that wins whatever, and getting submitted by Creed Silva, and that's okay. Creed Silva is pretty high level. Taira Rodriguez has a lot of dog in her, and you if you watch her fights, you'll see that her fight against Josephine Knudsen, who she was an underdog against, and I really liked Josephine Knudsen. It really sucks that she is out of the UFC, and she tried to go join the GFL or whatever the fuck it was called, and like that never ended up happening. I was hoping to see Dylan Dennis versus Tony Ferguson, but instead we're getting Tony Ferguson versus Salt Puppy, and I can't believe you go from title fight with Khabib, and then years later, all the losses, Tony Ferguson is doing influencer boxing. Quite the shame. Huge Tony Ferguson fan. It would have been nice if he got like the Dustin Poirier experience retirement. Anyway, why the fuck am I talking about that for so long? I will go with Taira Rodriguez. Another low confidence. I just think she's going to outdog her. Ketlin Souza definitely has a lot of power. And like Taira Rodriguez is much more decisionator type. At least in the UFC. Her fight against Ariane Carnelossi. I picked Ariane to win, but not by that. Won by disqualification for headbutting. Yeah, Ariane got totally pieced up by Taira Rodriguez in the first round, was hurting Ariane Carnelossi, and yeah, I'll go with Taira Rodriguez to get it done by decision. Now, Neil Magny versus Alessio Zaleski. And is it just me, or are a lot of these fights like super close in my opinion? I don't have odds yet on this, but okay. Zaleski, yes, he just got knocked out by Chi Njokuani and beat Zach Scroggin, who that doesn't even matter. I'm not even gonna rate that win. Randy Brown, he had moments against Randy Brown. I think it was like a 29-28 decision for Randy Brown. Toughed it out. And Renat Fakhretdinov, he was getting pieced up until the third round. He almost knocked out Renat and finished him, is why it was a draw. And Abubakar Magomedov, Anyway, there's something like Neil Magny seems to lose a lot lately, but I think like he's has enough I think Alessio Zaleski is capable of knocking out Neil Magny. I wouldn't be surprised with that. But I think we can maybe see here Neil Magny like using his clinch game against Zaleski with his punches. I don't know. I'm feeling a Neil Magny win on this one. I think I will go with Neil Magny to get it done by decision. Again, super close coin flip. I'm assuming Neil Magny's the dog. I don't have odds yet. Slightly younger, 37 years old to 38. Yeah, Zaleski, these are both good fighters. They're just a little bit past their prime. Very good fighters, actually. Yeah. Zaleski still had moments, and like, so has Neil Magny. He beat Mike Malott, which is still pretty impressive. And like, yeah, he went the distance with Ian Machado Gary, like, but his foot got fucked up. Had to split decision with Phil Rowe. Phil Rowe just looked really good his last fight. It was a long time ago. He submitted Daniel Rodriguez, and Daniel Rodriguez just beat Kevin Holland, who chinny Kevin Holland at this point. He got hurt a lot in that fight. Now Esteban Ribovics versus Elves Brenner, and I think Esteban all day in this one. I know we've seen some fights of Esteban in the UFC that were like close. Like his fight against Kamala Kirk, he won by unanimous decision, but like he did like everything he could to like get the win in that fight, it seemed. Like he used wrestling when he's more of a striker, and like Radzabov was fighting for his life to get that win. He had to use his wrestling heavy in that fight against Esteban Ribovics. Esteban seems to have worked on a little bit of that, and he knocked out Terrence McKinney, but that was totally a coin flip. When you're exchanging like that in the pocket with Terrence McKinney, someone's getting put away. And it just happened to be Terrence McKinney and Esteban won that fight. And Daniel Zellhuber, fuck, that was a great fight. And Nasrat Hakparas, it's not that bad of a loss because Nasrat is still pretty good. I never thought Elves Brenner was that good. I think he has a lot of dog for sure. Toughed it out for a while against Joel Alvarez. And Midabek oral by yeah, he didn't have a damn thing. Fucking Kanan Koshutski sucked in the UFC. And Grom sucked. And like he was having his way with him. And Zubarai Tugagov, he lost that fight. I was shocked that he won that one. Gotta go with Esteban Ribovics. I remember the first time I got introduced to Esteban Ribovics was his Contender Series fight against Thomas Paul. Excellent knockout. It was really nice. And then I don't know why, but I still picked Loic to beat him in his UFC debut. I just thought he wasn't ready. But anyway, I was right. But like ever since then, I've kind of followed the Esteban train, and yeah, I think I did pick Zellhuber. You know what? I picked against him a few times, but like I've always been impressed with like his power, and I think he's going to knock out Elves Brenner in this fight, and we'll see. Elves Brenner did not like belong here. Yeah. Now Danny Silva versus Kevin Vallejos, and I think Kevin Vallejos all day. I know this will be his second fight in the UFC, and I know he only beat Sung Woo Choi, but that fight against Jean Silva, close against Jean Silva. Jean Silva is fucking goated. Jean Silva's fucking good. Unless like he loses to all Silvas because he's fighting Danny Silva. But Danny Silva, I'm not impressed. I split against Lucas Almeida and Josh Kulabau. That's not good. Winning by decision against Angel Pacheco. Even though, like, yeah, he's only lost by decision, but I have not been too impressed with Danny Silva. He drops around and, like, I don't know. He's okay, but Kevin Vallejos is, like, well-rounded. He's young, hits fucking hard, and he should be able to knock out Danny Silva. Round 2 or 3. Okay, Carol Rosa versus Nora Cornell. These are the kind of fight nights I like, where like something about it, like I'm like, oh, I'm not. People are like, I'm not watching this like card. I'm not watching these fights. I love that. It feels more like intimate for me watching the UFC. That I don't know. I love these kind of fight nights because like everyone has like low expectations for them, and then they turn out to be bangers. And I think this fight right here has potential to be a banger. Carol Rosa has pretty sweet boxing on the feet, and Nora Cornell, like, she hits really hard. Now, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go ever so slightly. I'm gonna pick Cornell to get this one done by decision. Just be Haley Cowan, but Haley Cowan sucks. Carol Rosa, I forget who her wife is or girlfriend. I think it's Denise Gomez. I could be thinking of someone else. They train together. Anyway, I don't have much to say about this fight. I think the power on Nora Cornell. I think she's pretty good, and Carol Rosa is younger. I'm surprised, but anyway, I will go at Nora Cornell to get this one done. Okay, I hope I didn't pick a lot of like too many underdogs because like this fight, I know I'm picking the underdog. Chris Duncan versus Mateus Rebecki. I'm going with Chris Duncan to get this one done by knockout, like round 2 or 3. He's going to do it just the way that fucking Diego Ferreira did it. But I think everybody is super impressed by his fight with Mitabek Orobai. We're going to have to see like Mitabek Orobai, like how he looks in his next fight, because Mitabek Orobai has only beat Euros Medic and Elves Brenner and Tafik Musiev, and we don't know how like good those guys are, and we know Mateus Rebecki is really good. It was a super tough fight, super close fight. It could have gone to Mitabek in that fight. I wouldn't have agreed with it, but I wouldn't be shocked either if it did. Mateus Rebecki, I remember like I lost faith in him when he won by decision against Nick Fuhr. I was like, oh fuck yeah. I totally thought he was going to finish him. I was impressed on the Contender Series. But Chris Duncan, like zombie, gets hit hard. He keeps coming back, and like power submissions. I'm gonna go with him to get this done by KO or submission round 1 or 2. Wow, that was the co-main. Okay. Now, Amir Albazi versus Tatsuro Taira, and I cannot pick Amir Albazi in this fight. They're both coming off losses. Tatsuro Taira is coming off a loss to Brandon Royval, split decision, close fight. I did give it to Brandon Royval, of course, but Amir Albazi's coming off a decision loss to Brandon Moreno where he didn't do a damn thing. Looked super slow, had no sense of urgency. Even in the 5th round, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. He couldn't touch Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno did look on that night. Anyway, I think Tatsuro Taira doesn't have the striking accolades that Brandon Moreno has, but I think he has the skills to beat Amir Albazi, and I'm going to go with Taira to get this one done by decision and or submission. More leading 49-46 type of decision. Tatsuro Taira is going to get it done.